Welcome to the Bionicle and the island of Mata Nui.
I'd like to start this video off with an apology. While I was working on the 2009-10 Flash Games video, the Bionicle reboot got cancelled. And I choose to believe that I caused that. So, to make it up to you, I got a few more Bionicle videos planned. I was going to do one on the reboot's Flash games, but it turns out that there weren't any because that's a relic of the past. So, instead, let's look at all the random games I missed before as a cleanup of sorts.
Back in 2001, when games could still be feasibly distributed for free with food, LEGO teamed up with Nestle to release a promo CD in specially marked cereals. You know how old this thing is? Not only did I have to set the installer to compatibility mode to get it to run, the installation installed both QuickTime and Shockwave. Anyway, it starts with an intro spoken by a narrator who belongs more in those museum-guided tours.
That shadow's name was Makuta.
And then you're presented with the six Turaga, staring at you. They don't have anything to say, no wisdom to impart, just a mini-game to lead you to. You're really working your weight, guys. You can't even go to another part of the same program without doing this. Each Turaga links to a stage for each of the Toamata, and they all share the same gameplay. I'm surprised this isn't a Flash game actually, it looks and plays just like one. An auto-scroller where the only solid ground are the floating platforms and your Toa needs to collect all the masks. Miss one, touch an infected mask, or fall and that's a life lost. Don't worry about losing all your lives though, stages only last about 15 seconds. Though you'll have to live with the burden that you killed your Toa, because the simple scrolling transition implies that it's a clone of the Toa finishing the stage, perhaps in a parallel but otherwise identical universe. The reward for beating one of these Dark Souls caliber stages is a CG movie. You know the ones that were used in every promotion, including most of the trailers for Bionicle the game. And if you can prove your immense skill to all six Turaga, you'll unlock the real game. It's the exact same thing, except an endless high score attack, despite your tour guide clearly stating
Level 1.
Honestly, I prefer the lead-up mini-stages. It's earning the inferior game.
Well, that was it for PC games. Every other extra I have planned was released through different means. Cell phones. Now, this was before the days of actual cell phone quality, before the smartphone boom. It was these pieces of crap. Did anyone buy games for these things, or did you just play the demos that were pre-installed? I remember there was a Castlevania game on this, like a actual original Metroidvania. That's gotta be weird.
Hey, look at that, I'm talking about Bionicle Heroes already. Bet you didn't know that. There's the console version, GBA, DS, and cell phone. I'll apologize for the video footage now. I had to emulate these games, and it looks like Heroes didn't want to cooperate. Also, the resolution is super vertical, and I can't do anything about that. This game is kind of a top-down adventure with incredibly limited exploration. Progression is kind of Mario 64. Holly needs a certain amount of protodermis crystals to unlock the next area, scattered around the small screens of the levels. They're in plain sight, so don't worry about missing them. They seem to be the only sprite that always displays correctly in the emulation, because Holly disappears all the time in the corrupted textures. I admit that I didn't play this one much because I couldn't really figure it out, which isn't the game's fault. It would have been better on a real phone that plays it right, but I can still complain about the movement. It's Zelda 1 style, no diagonal movement, which isn't game-breaking, but it is inconvenient. And your one attack, this glitter bomb sparkle, just looks stupid. I imagine the game would be harmless if it worked properly, but that doesn't make it enjoyable. It's bland. Bionicle Challenge, besides working correctly, is a lot simpler to understand and play. It's a top-down racing game like RC Pro-Am and the like. It uses tank controls. I've expressed my disdain for that in the past, but I can work with it in this genre. There's a small selection of characters, including Mata, which is all I needed to see, and it's got 15 courses, not a bad selection. Don't expect Mario Kart out of the race though, there's considerably less to do. You'll race against 2 AI opponents around a small track, get first place. I'd say there's nothing more to the race. There is the ability to shoot the other racers and power-ups for better attacks, but it takes so many attacks to drain their health. Getting hit doesn't slow them down, and you have to be behind them. It's better to focus on racing like a gentleman. And don't crash into the other racers, that drains your health fast. The final old phone game is Bionicle Defenders, and the file I downloaded is in a different language. I think it's Russian, and this is the only game without a language select.
Well, it's a cell phone game. I'm sure I don't need to worry about the language barrier.
It's a defend the tower strategy game.
Shoot. Sorry, can't swear anymore. New YouTube guidelines and all that.
No, but seriously, the tutorial was really visual. I didn't have any problem understanding it despite being monolinguistic. If anything, it's better than a gory defender because it isn't as easy to cheat. You actually have to try. Which means I'm not interested. Sorry, not my genre.
Thankfully, that was the end of dumb cell phone games because this thing's terrible. Cell phones evolved shortly after, probably at the same time, with the release of the iPhone and the smartphone boom it caused, during which Bionicle was in hibernation. But LEGO series came back, and they skipped Flash games and went to the real money. Except no money because these apps are free and there's no DLC or microtransactions. That was nice of LEGO.
Released first was Mask of Creation. Because comparisons to already existing and more popular games make my job easier, my first thought playing this game was Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key, another top-down enemy tapper. And no surprise, Kingdom Hearts did it better. Mask of Creation can be summarized as walk to this arena, tap everything, walk to next identical arena. The visual fidelity is satisfactory. It's amazing a mobile game looks better than Bionicle the game and possibly Bionicle Heroes, but each batch of levels looks exactly the same. Killing enemies and collecting the orbs they drop fills up this super meter that unleashes nice death to everything around you, and filling it up to level 2 adds a light dash to it. There's also summoning someone else to stand there. Does he do anything? Not like you need the help. I'm not sure if it's possible to die, not even to this pathetic excuse for a boss. Kinda makes the upgrades pointless, not that you'll be getting them. Don't misunderstand me, you'll find upgrade pieces, whatever stat bonuses they have, but they're usually for a tower you're not playing as, so don't expect Lewa to get anything nice. And finally, the most recent Bionicle game and possibly the last ever, Mask of Control. Part of me was expecting it to be the same game, but this one's a fighting game. Don't get excited, this is no Street Fighter or Marvel vs. Capcom, both games that have been available on iOS in fact. Let me lay down the combat mechanics. You attack your opponent by tapping them, because that's the only way touchscreen games can do it. Most of the time they don't fight back, so you can get your 3-hit combo without much trouble. And successfully getting that combo opens up a series of damaging swipe attacks. There's a block that feels really weird and cheap, and a super meter that fills up when you deal or take damage, per the standard. Filling that meter halfway allows the summoning of an animal buddy to deal heavy damage, but filling it all the way allows the tower to animorph, letting their attacks deal more damage for a short time. The mechanics and its surely deep metagame are fine enough, but it falls apart with the enemy fighters. Early on past the tutorials, everyone is so weak and non-aggressive that there's no challenge. Each set of 3 fights has 3 challenges. Completing them means extra points to spend on upgrades, whether it's more attacks, higher health, or improved animal. One of the challenges early on is consistently beat the enemy while merged, but unless you purposefully take a lot of damage, you'll beat them before you can fill the meter. The only part I played that provided any challenge was the boss level. The first fight is against a tougher enemy who's a bit annoying. He takes so little damage, tends to attack with little warning, and goes up into his charge attack a lot when he takes so little damage until he attacks. But he's manageable and provides somewhat of a challenge. The following 2 fights are against the same mooks you fought 15 times already, but that boss guy comes back after you deal with them, so you have to do 2 fights on 1 health bar, and he's still just as annoying. It's kinda like those 2-on-1 fights in the original Mortal Kombat. If I can compliment this game at all as a Bionicle fighting game, it's a massive improvement over Glatorian Arena. Like, absolutely everything is better. But an improvement from total garbage doesn't say anything by itself, only damned by faint praise. I guess Mask of Control is good enough as a time-waster mobile game for kids, but they're definitely on the low end of apps I have installed.
Anyone else notice me getting more negative as these reviews progress? Why do you think that is? Am I just getting sick of Bionicle, or are the flaws harder to overlook as time and technology progress? Or maybe looking at cell phone games is just a recipe for disaster. I wish there was a way to play better games on the go without sitting in a chair in front of my TV. Handhelds? Well, yeah, I guess I just need to get pants with bigger pockets.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. I'm also a part of a Let's Play channel you can check out if we ever upload, or you can look at my Twitter account where I've posted some strange things. I'm probably working on the next video now, so stay tuned.